Hello everyone, welcome to the Tristar Gym channel. Hopefully the audio is working. All my buttons are green. Please somebody confirm audio is on. Hope it's all working good. All right, let me see here. Do we have a go on the audio? Audio 100%. Great. Awesome. Let's get started. My button pushing skills, as always, improving. Special thank you to TimTam.tech. TimTam.tech makes the world's best deep tissue therapy device. If you guys want the best in recovery, check out TimTam.tech and, of course, jujiclub.com. My first jiu-jitsu instructional is out. Get it on jujiclub.com. And now, with that said, let's get started. Okay, guys, we're doing an AMA. You guys can ask me anything. Go right ahead. Open it off. Kick it off. Usually I wait till there's 50 people in the chat room, but we're at 30 already. It's going to be at 100 in no time. So let's go ahead. Shoot your first question. All right. How about Colby's cardio? Well, I just did a breakdown on Colby versus RDA. So, no doubt about it. His cardio is the best in the game. The best in the game. What he did was really, it was really impressive. The amount of energy and pressure and time, the density of his attacks, one after another, non-stop. And there was a brief lull, I think, in round 4. But other than that, it was a pace I would put up there with a Jake Shields, a George St. Pierre. Who else had a monstrous pace like this? It's not just, there's some guys who had a great striking pace, but this was a wrestling and striking pace. So this brings me a lot, there are very few elite fighters that have done this. I would put RDA in the bag as well, but he outdid RDA with pace, so even higher than RDA. His striking output was higher. His wrestling output was higher. We saw some nice takedowns from RDA, but nowhere near as many attempts as Colby put up. So I would definitely put Colby in that elite level of conditioning and pace. Do you think Conor will fight Khabib in the near future? Well, I think that's a huge money fight. And I think Conor likes those money fights. He likes those money fights. But the downside to taking that Khabib fight is it might end up in disaster. It might end up in the best night of his life. He might end up with a one-round KO, or he might end up on his back and drowning for a few rounds before he gets finished. So that's the high risk. He knows it. We all know it. Fighting Khabib could be a huge victory if he connects, but if he doesn't connect that left hand, it could be a monstrous defeat. Now, here's the downside also. The downside is that McGregor loves to kick. McGregor is a kicker. Now, when you kick, you take the risk of getting hurt. I'm just going to move this up here, guys, because it's white on white. Why is he going to get hurt if he kicks Khabib? Because Khabib is going to take him down. And when you throw those kicks, when he throws those oblique kicks to the knee, if he tries to poke with the push kick to the body, Khabib's going to be all over it, guys. Khabib's going to jump on that leg. He's going to take him down. Khabib is an expert at taking people down with the legs. He's not just an upper body takedown expert. He's unbelievable when it comes to takedowns with the legs. So if McGregor is going to set up those kicks and he's going to try to kick Khabib, I just see him getting taken down. So he'd have to box Khabib, which would make it harder for him to set up that left. And Khabib's bigger, stronger. I think Khabib can take 1 or 2 lefts. But again, we've seen what that left can do. That left it's devastating. So huge money fight for McGregor. But the major downside is he might take a beating that he doesn't want to take in his career. So why risk it in the end? Why risk it? Can he get another big money fight with a striker? With somebody that he's very confident will end up in victory. Do you bet on MMA? No, I never bet on MMA. I've never gambled in MMA or bet on any fight whatsoever, even though when I thought it was a lock. I just don't think it's a good way to make money. It's addictive. And for those who win, end up getting, more and more excited about betting again in the future. And in the long run, I find that most people just lose money. Coach, you're the best. Well, thank you. Thank you. Appreciate that. McGregor does more snap kicking. He does more snap kicking. But the thing is, even if he doesn't get his foot caught Just the fact that his foot is in the air, Khabib's going to shoot. Don't forget, Khabib's shot is on a hair trigger. It's on a hair trigger. If you lift your foot off the ground, you're susceptible to his takedowns. If you lift your foot off the ground, you're susceptible to his takedowns. I think McGregor will kick, and those kicks may strongly resort in a takedown. Now, when he got taken down by Mendes, he threw like a knee and he got taken down early in their fight. If you remember, the first 20 seconds, McGregor was already on the ground. But he's bigger than Mendes. Mendes is not really a jiu-jitsu guy. He's a great takedown artist. However, when he gets on top of people, he's not nowhere near as seasoned as Khabib. Khabib will hold you down, break you down to the mat. By breakdown, I mean if you try to get up, he has 1,001 ways to bring you back down to the mat. That's what we call a breakdown. When the guy on the bottom is trying to build a base and stand back up to his feet, the ability to bring him back down to the ground is called a breakdown. Now, Mendes has got a good breakdown, but Khabib's is, in my opinion, the best. It's not just good, it's the best in the game right now. And when Khabib has broken you down, his ability to pass your guard, smash past you, ground and pound you is far superior. So there's less hope of getting up. Far less hope. When you get taken down by Khabib. And it's draining. You see that he drains the cardio. Now, has McGregor ever had a cardio issue in the past? I believe so. And I think being stuck under there, even the most seasoned grapplers will get tired. And I just think McGregor just doesn't have that level of cardio, that level of jiu-jitsu to get back up to his feet. Who is the best fighter you have sparred with and why? Well, that's a great question. I've sparred with so many people. Guys, I'm telling you, I sparred with all the big names. And I don't mean to name drop, but I mean, I've sparred with like John Jones, GSP, Rashad, Nate Marquardt. And this is when they were at their best of the best. I've sparred with Khabilov. I've sparred with so many guys. I can't even mention to you. Florian. It's just, the list goes on and on. All the who's who, many UFC world champions. I've sparred with many of them. Look. The best guy I've ever sparred with, I would say, is George. And I'll tell you why it's George. And I know you guys are going to say I'm biased, and I am. Okay, I'm biased. Rory, George. These guys, the thing with George is it's hard to play the same trick on him twice. He's been fighting for such a young age. He's been training since he's 6 years old. He's been doing karate since he's 6 years old. It's hard to play the same trick on him twice. That's what I would say. Look at all his rematches. If his first match was tight, the rematch was always a blowout. George just crushes the guy in the rematch. When he fought Koscheck the second time, when he fought Matt Hughes the second time, when he fought BJ the second time, every time he fights you again, he's just adapted. He's seen what you do. He's kind of figured you out. He's not easy to play the same trick twice. Now, I'm the kind of guy who has 1,001 tricks. And every week I have a new trick, a new magic trick. And one reason why I've developed like that is because I've noticed when I tried to play the same trick on George twice, it was more difficult. And I knew that I needed a new trick. So I became a trickster throughout my career. I became a trickster. Why? Because the guy I was sparring with was a master at decoding tricks. So I knew that I had to get more and more complex. And we kind of built each other like that. We kind of hand in hand. Because early on, we were the only, we had limited sparring partners. So we sparred a lot together. Now today, we don't need to spar together anymore, really, because we spar only very rarely. Because we have so many sparring partners. We're blessed with so many sparring partners. Tristar Gym has more than quintuple inside. Whatever you call it, we're 10 times more fighters. We're so many more. So it's rare now we'll lock horns. We do it every so often for fun. But growing up, we're a handful of guys competing with each other. And, our styles clash and help mold one another. What else we got here? I got to tell you guys, 90% of the questions I get today now are for the welterweight division. The welterweight division now, obviously with what happened last weekend, but also the weeks before. It's probably now the hottest division in the game. It's probably the hottest division. 170 pounds. Is stacked. It's a popular division. Everybody's always asking me about this division, but there's a lot going on in other divisions. And I would say the second most popular division is the 155 division. And I think eventually, because these two divisions are so hot, I think that the 155 champ, whoever it may be in the near future, is going to clash with a 170-pound champ. It's a matter of time, I think, because you got these great matchups. You got Khabib, who could fight possibly Colby. But now I'm seeing that T Wood probably will never allow this. I think Tyrone's going to want to crack at Colby. And, I think he does it. I think he puts Colby away. But let's say it's possible Tyrone gets injured or he's sidelined or whatever. We could definitely see Colby versus Khabib, which would be, in my mind, just as exciting as Tyrone. Now, of course, I love watching Tyrone. I think it would be an epic match. I think Tyrone beats Colby. I'll be straight up with you guys. I'll tell you guys straight up. But I think it's a Tyrone Woodley fight. And he's got the greatest, arguably the greatest takedown defense in the game today. And his striking power, he's bigger, probably, I would say he's a little bit bigger than Colby, more athletic. I don't know if you get drawn by the pace. Again, we'll do a breakdown. We'll do an official breakdown. I'm not counting Colby out. I think Colby's a great contender. Can possibly be Tyrone Woodley. We'll do a full breakdown when the time comes. But for now, those are my preliminary thoughts. Khabib Sambo or Romero's wrestling, which is better? I would go with Khabib. I saw the Romero Whitaker fight. I know on the Monday episode I hadn't seen it yet. I was traveling. I didn't get a chance to see it. When I was in Chicago, I didn't get a chance to watch the main event. We had to move, interviews, this, that, a whole bunch of stuff, after party, after get-together, whatever you want to call it, obligations that the team had. So I didn't get a chance to watch the fight live. I watched it again afterwards. Definitely Khabib's takedown and Sambo game is superior to Romero's takedown and top game. Romero barely used his takedowns. He used a few key ones. He used it intelligently. However, it's not a key element to his game as it is for Khabib. Khabib is all about the wrestling and jiu-jitsu. His striking is a setup for his takedowns and his jiu-jitsu. There's no secret about it. If you're fighting Khabib, he's taking you down. He's going for the takedown. Now, Romero does a vast majority of his offense is through striking, stand-up striking. He's a gifted striker. He's a powerful striker. He's a dangerous striker. But his takedowns are not the reason why he wins. His top game is not the reason generally why he wins. He wins a lot with his striking. He knocks people down, he hurts people standing up, and then he gets on top of them and he mauls them. But his opponents do get up, where Khabib's opponents do not get up. So it's a far bigger factor for Khabib. The grappling aspect of Khabib's game is a far greater factor. Colby is Jojo Jones. Colby's a stupid fighter, man. Come on, guys. Just cardio, no depth and thought behind his game. Just like that, his trash talk, no depth. Well, Jojo, I think you're totally wrong. You're totally wrong on that. Okay? The man is UFC world champion. Now, let's have a little reality check. The guy's literally the best interim he's the world champion at 170. He's literally the best fighter at 170, barring Tyrone Woodley, okay? After Tyrone Woodley, he's without a doubt the best fighter at welterweight. He won the world title. Now, do you think he won it just through cardio? So if somebody has really great cardio today, they can go and become UFC champion? No, absolutely not. The real reason why, Jojo, you have that position is because you don't understand what he did in the fight. He did a lot of great things, technical things. Brilliant technical maneuvers. And I'll give you one, for instance. Look at the first takedown he got. He threw a scissor knee and then landed into a double leg shot attempt. It's the first few seconds of the fight. Now, why did he do a scissor knee? He did a scissor knee because he wanted to level change on RDA. He wanted RDA to, because when somebody does a flying knee to your head, what do? You pull your head back. When you pull your head back, you expose your legs. Why? Because your posture is straightened up. And then he transitioned right away into a double leg, which was beautiful, guys. It was a beautiful maneuver. It was intelligent. It was a smart way to start the fight. And then ended up in a partial takedown. A partial takedown. I won't say a full takedown. It's not like he mauled RD on the ground, but he got the game going. His takedowns that he got later on in the fight were excellent, brilliant, high caliber, world-class, Olympic level type wrestling. You might not have picked up on the subtleties, okay, but he turned the corner beautifully. At one point, RDA went for a guillotine. and Colby went for a beautiful chest pressure, as we call it in Canada. Kind of ran the pipe. I know in America they call it running the pipe, but a partial one, just a little one. He kind of like started edging his way to side control, put that shoulder pressure on the thigh, rocked RDA back, got his neck free because he freed his neck by threatening a takedown. RDA had to let go of the neck, or else he was getting taken down and he was going to get caught side control. A lot of brilliant subtleties. His striking was also equally smart, equally intelligent. It wasn't brute strength and it wasn't just brute cardio. You know, trust me, you got to watch another 10 years of MMA and you'll start picking up the subtleties. How many guys were able to dominate and beat RDA? Tell me, how many in the game? There are very few. One of them being Khabib. Khabib did something even the higher level. Khabib dominated RDA even more than Colby did. Who else dominated RDA? Well, Ferguson beat RDA. He did it in a different way, but these are the elite of the elite. These are the best of the best. Colby Covington's name is in that pool. So no, it wasn't just cardio. It wasn't just lack of depth. The honest truth is his technique, his skill, and his cardio, and his heart. Because if you remember, I think it was round 4, he walks into a mean left. He walks into a mean left from RDA. He kind of like rushes RDA. Every round, if you notice, Colby ran to the center of the octagon. And one time he does it in one of the rounds, I think it was round 3 or 4. And he eats a left hand from RDA. It was brutal. But he took it like a man. He didn't panic. He took it like a man. He stayed calm. He kept fighting. Never deviated from the game plan. Which just shows that, his mental game was very strong. Not just talk. It wasn't just talk. Now, personally, I don't like his talk. Personally, I don't think it's needed. I think it might get you fans you don't want. It's going to get you the type of fan you don't want because they're not going to be there when you fall. They're not going to be there when you fall. Remember the fight for, I don't want to name the boxer's name, but one boxer was a major trash talker. Big trash talker. Always has a huge entourage. One day loses a fight pretty badly. Walks out of the fight alone. His entourage was nowhere to be seen. It was quite embarrassing, quite humiliating. Why? Because it shows us, look, that nobody actually, you don't have any real friends even. Not only do you have to eat your words, but we also see that your relationships are superficial. Now, why would somebody have no friends? It's probably because they're not worth being friends with. A true friend will stand with you when you're, going through tough times. A true friend will stand with you when you're going through tough times. Now, if you don't have any true friends, it's probably because you're not worth being friends with. And, I think eventually doing these kind of things backfires in the long run, guys, in the long run. It might not backfire publicly, but it'll backfire in your private life. One day the chips will be down and you'll realize that, hey, these people around me, I find them to be repulsive. Why? Because they're here for superficial reasons, selfish reasons, etc. And, eventually you'll find that to be repulsive. So that's just my point of view. In the long run, it'll shoot him in the foot. Hopefully it's just a facade. Hopefully it's just something, or a phase at least, that he's going through, and eventually he'll grow out of it. I like the fact that he apologized to Joe Rogan, or he apologized about the Joe Rogan incident. He regretted it, because I found that to be extreme. And believe me, if he had slapped Joe Rogan, a lot of us from the UFC would have been very upset. Not just the UFC itself or whatnot, but the fighters, me personally, like a lot of us would not have liked that. It's just, it would have been going way too far. And I think it would have been, it would have been a war. Like it would have started a war, like something really over the top. But I'm happy he apologized for that. I'm happy he took it back. And, you got to keep the trash talking about the fighter, not about all of Brazil. That I thought was way too far. Really ignorant comments about Brazil. Brazil is a beautiful place. I'm 100% sure he doesn't mean it. Nobody could be that ignorant these days. At least very few people can be that ignorant. I think he just said it because he wants to be center of attention. He wants to get his title shot. He wants to rock the boat. But I think in the long run, it doesn't do good for his career and for the sport as a whole. He should have kept his comments towards the fighter he's fighting. Don't go after nationality. Don't go after his family. Don't go after his entourage. Don't go after, keep it between you and him. And after the fight, shake hands, give words of respect. After the fight, it's over. Okay, you guys build up the fight. I personally don't even like to attack the guy or we're competing. I always tell my fighters, guys, keep your mouth shut. Fight, do your job. People are going to like you for who you are. You don't need to put other people down. And the real reason why I don't like the trash talking is because it teaches kids to bully. So kids watch your fight, they see the trash talking, they think that's what champions do, that's what champions behave. That's the standard. They go on the playground, they start bullying each other, they start smacking each other around, they start acting like, the stars of today. They start being cruel. And where do they learn it? Well, they learned it from you. So it makes the world a bit of a not so happy place. So I'm all about being yourself, being entertaining by letting your personality shine, but be who you are. Don't be fake. Don't be fake, because I feel it's a little bit fake. Some of the guys out there today, it's just fake. It's just fake, and that turns me off. Personally, I find it when it's not authentic. Like, I feel McGregor's being authentic. I feel that's who he is. He's one of those guys that just has to talk. He has to let it out. He has too much inside of him. He's an extrovert. He's really extroverted. He needs to talk. A silence, being quiet with his own mind, it's a nightmare. He needs to have noise. He needs to have... Some people are just like that. He needs to express externally his feelings nonstop. However, some fighters, I feel, it's just fake. They're trying to do what McGregor did. Hey, guys, it's been done. It's just coming off fake. All right, here. Let's see what else we got. Do you agree with Hickson Gracie saying BJJ is not enough for MMA? Well, I'm not sure that Hickson ever said that. But if he did, I do agree with him. BJJ is not enough. However, BJJ is fundamental. So, for instance, the only thing that can beat BJJ is BJJ mixed with something else. So if you do boxing alone and you go in MMA, you're going to get killed. However, if you do boxing, you must mix in BJJ. You must. If you don't, you're going to lose. Wrestling is not enough because the guy could always pull guard and armbar you. You need some jiu-jitsu. Some. So jiu-jitsu is the ingredient you cannot do without. So I can be a boxer with jiu-jitsu and zero wrestling and still win. I'm not saying wrestling is not good. You should add wrestling. No doubt about it. It's a key element to go to the high levels. However, you could still be an adequate fighter without any real wrestling. So if you look at Carlos Condit, his wrestling wasn't great. I find that, he got so far. He became world champion, WEC and UFC. I mean, the guy was one of the greats, but he did it with very little wrestling. Very, very limited amounts of wrestling. It was really his jiu-jitsu and his striking that was most brilliant. So it is possible. Definitely, no doubt about it. What else we had here? Let's see. All right, what else we got here? Is there a BJJ athlete you would like to see move to MMA? That's such a great question. Yeah, I want to see Gary Toden move to MMA. I got to see him move to MMA. I think he's going to be brilliant in MMA. I'd love to see also Gordon Ryan. Gordon Ryan down the line after he's, cemented himself as the greatest BJJ or one of the greatest BJJ fighters in the game. It would be great to see him also move to MMA if possible because he's such an exciting leg locker. And I think leg lockers are far and few between in MMA, and they're the most exciting grapplers in the game. Leg lockers are always very fun to watch. Guys, I made a promise to one of you guys out there that I would review your MMA debut. So if you guys, I want to keep my word. So if you guys will bear with me here, I'm gonna play. I haven't watched the fight yet. I'm gonna play. One of you guys out there has had their UFC debut. The footage is not the highest quality, but I definitely want to do it. I want to keep my word. I'm going to put it on the screen. Hold on here. All right. It's supposed to be on the screen now. Just give me 1 sec. I'm going to pop it on the screen. And now, okay, I'm going to be playing his fight. We're going to watch his fight. Let me rewind it here because it played for some reason. It played without me. I have no idea why it played, but okay. Let me move it around here. All right, let's play this fight here. My man is the guy on the left here. All right, here we're playing. I said I will watch his debut. I'm assuming he's the man on the left. I think his name was Woodchopper. I hope you guys are getting a good view. My view's okay. I think it's not so bad. The man on the left is Woodchopper. He's a YouTube subscriber. He's a YouTube channel subscriber here. He's in on a double leg. Beautiful double leg here attempt. Underhook. His opponent went for a guillotine. Big mistake. Side control. Here, your opponent's not flat and straight here. You got to flatten him out here. He's probably going to get up. There it is. There's the get up. Here comes some knees, I believe. There's some knees. What do we got here? Hard to see who's got the underhook. Another double leg attempt. Woodchopper's the man who subscribed to our channel here. Another takedown attempt. Beautiful double leg. Butterfly guard. Full guard transition. Let's see here. Elbows. Our YouTube subscribers, the man on the top. This is his pro debut. He asked me to review it for him, give him some answers, give him some comments on what I think. Well, look, you're doing a good job so far. I think you made a couple of mistakes up there on the fence. You should have kept him flat and straight. That's why he was able to get up. When you take somebody down on the fence, you want to keep their shoulders pinned to the mat. Now, again, here's the same situation. You want to flatten them out here. Let's see if you're able to. You're transitioning to... It's hard, a little bit hard for me to see, but I think you're in half guard here. You're doing a good job with the ground and pound. Now, your opponent on the bottom doesn't seem to be very seasoned in jiu-jitsu. Doesn't seem to know how to protect himself too well here from the bottom. But again, this is a pro debut fight, so I'm going to give you guys some slack. I think you're doing a fantastic job. It's just hard to see. It's hard for me to tell your level because the guy you're fighting is not giving the correct reactions. Okay, so here you're transitioning to mount. Some good ground and pound here. I think you're a little bit high on the mount here. I think you need to get lower because a more seasoned fighter will just escape here or roll you over. Some good ground and pound pressure. High pace. You look like you're in great shape here. Here's a back attempt here. You should have had, I think you should have been able to transition to the back here. Some good elbows. This fight should be over here, I think, in my opinion, especially for a debut fight. This is a lot of shots to take for a debut fight. Again, you're a little bit too high on the mount. Here you should be on the back by now. That's correct. Good job on the back. Here you want to break him down. You're letting him build his base. Here, a more seasoned fighter might roll out here and kind of throw you off his back. Here, I would have gotten him belly down. You need to go one-on-one on each side or two-on-one. Flatten him out. Continue the ground and pound. Here's a neck attempt. You should be able to get this, I assume. He's a little bit off to the side. You might miss this. There it is. He was able to escape. Hard for me to tell because we're so zoomed out. Good ground and pound. Now, your opponent here is not doing the best escape, and I think that's why you're able to land such hard shots. Here's another little tidbit for you. When you're in this position here, you want to secure your hips behind his hips. Now, you're off to the side. A more seasoned opponent would be standing up by now. So you want to break his hips down to the mat here, put a hook in, and make sure that your hips are below his hips. Your hips are running high here. This should be it. I assume you're probably... he's off to the side again. This choke might not be in. Hard to tell. And that's it. Great job on the pro debut. Very ferocious, very aggressive. Was that the end of the round? Okay, no, it was the end of the round. The fight continues. Excuse me. These are probably 3-minute rounds. I was thinking that your chokers are a bit off to the side, but some people tap to that. You know, sometimes they get a little bit scared. Here's some good pressure. You're attacking forward with the striking. Let's see here, another double leg attempt. My only critique here for your pace would be that can you sustain this at higher levels? You know, this might be a little bit hard. You're a little bit frantic here. Good double leg. Side control. You know, you just want to control that pace. You don't want to fight in a frantic pace. You know, you want to make sure that you have a nice controlled pace. Some good knees. Mount. This should be over soon, guys. I'm assuming this is going to be over soon. I can't see the progress bar. Again, running high a little bit on mount here. I would probably go knee on belly in this situation. All right, Woodchopper. I'm going to have to... let me see if I can find the progress bar here. I don't want to... Okay, this should be the end here. Okay, I see the progress bar now. Hope I didn't move the screen too much. Okay, here's some ground and pound. This is brutal, guys. I think this fight should have been stopped a few seconds ago at least. And that's it. Woodchopper. Good job, my man. Congratulations on your win. Congratulations. That was Woodchopper. I believe his name was Woodchopper. He is a member of our of our YouTube channel, my YouTube channel. So good job, Woodchopper. I reviewed it like I promised. Not bad. Next time, guys, if you want me to review stuff on this channel, you got to give me a really good video. That video was a little bit hard to watch, okay? But good job, Woodchopper. This guy versus CM Punk. You know what? Would be interesting, but not in UFC. I don't think it belongs in UFC. But I would watch that fight. I would watch that fight. Hell, I would host that fight on my YouTube channel. If you guys can make it happen, I would host that fight. I think it would be a good fight. Thoughts on bare knuckle fighting championship? I'm interested to see how the clinch game develops there. I don't like it, guys. I don't like it without gloves. I find that it shortens fighters' careers. It carves people's faces up. Why? Why put extra damage on a human being? I think the sport is already brutal enough. Let's make it less brutal, not more brutal. More chances of infecting people with disease. You know, transmitting disease. What is the purpose? Just nonsensical to me. Okay, guys, I'm hoping that the screen is still HD. Let's see here. I don't know why quality dropped. Okay, let me pop it back to HD here. All right, back to HD. I think it's because I played that video, so it kind of transitioned. We are back to HD. Lines are green, so let's continue. What else we got here? Kevin Lee versus Khabib. I will do a thorough breakdown. We'll probably go an hour and a half on that one. That's such a brilliant fight. I hope it happens. I've actually gotten to train a bit with Kevin Lee. I would love to see this fight happen. I think it would be great. All right. Should MMA have a belt system? Yes, I think it should. We need a belt system. We need some level of structure. I'm planning on starting one in the near future, guys, where I'm going to be giving like board shorts and it's going to have belts. That's coming in the near future, okay? So I'm going to do the same belt system in Jiu-Jitsu. However, it's going to be for MMA. I want to have a belt system for MMA. I think a belt system just makes things better. The student knows where he stands. You know, it's just a brilliant system. I think we need it. Do you have recommendation for a good breathing exercise? Yes, I do. You know, check out Wim Hof. He's got some great material on breathing. Guys, I love the Wim Hof system. I practice it every so often. I do it myself. I think it's brilliant, brilliant, brilliant. Also, look up belly breathing. Belly breathing should be a basic method of breathing for every individual out there. It'll lower your stress levels. It'll heighten your energy. Belly breathing is a must. For us, what's your typical day of training? Well, my typical day of training, usually I wake up. I go to a jiu-jitsu practice at Tristar. We have a jiu-jitsu practice at 10 a.m. I haven't been showing up for the last few months because I've been traveling so much. So what I'll do is, because I don't want to wake up that early, it's a 10 a.m. class, I'll kind of show up at 11 a.m., hit the bag. So if I'm not going to do jiu-jitsu that day, I'm going to hit the bag. Bag, guys, is the best cardio. Why is it the best cardio? Well, one, you're practicing your martial arts skill. And if you're not a fighter, it doesn't matter. One day you get into an altercation in the street, that boxing, that Muay Thai is there. Two, it's a great low-impact cardiovascular workout. If you get up and run, you're ruining your knees, your ankles, your joints, your hips. Unless you know how to run with perfect technique. Even then, you're taxing your joints. It's a low-impact way to pump that cardio, man, to pump that heart. For those of you who don't do cardio, you know you're missing. You don't know that you're missing out. All of you out there who do cardio on a regular basis, you know the benefits. Heightened energy. You get a high from cardio. Cardio is a beautiful thing. Musculature is a beautiful thing. Lifting weights, calisthenics is a beautiful thing. But you need to pump that heart. You'll never get as lean as a guy who does cardio and weights. Okay, weights are important. When I say weights, I mean any musculature type exercise. So like body weight. Body weight is great. Kettlebell, sandbag. I love sandbag. For those of you who don't know, I love sandbag. I love sprinting. Okay, these are all great explosive exercises. However, you do need to get that heart rate going. Of course, sprinting is great for the legs. You know, the muscles of the legs and cardio. Hits two birds with one stone. But you need to do that cardio. I do my cardio. Most of my cardio is done on the bag. Why? It's low impact. It's easy on the knees. I love it. I do a lot of interval punching, a lot of interval Dutch drills. It's phenomenal for cardio. Okay, helps me stay lean. The funnest cardio I do is touch sparring. So TriStar, we have touch sparring Monday, Wednesday, Friday. I try to do 2 classes a week, Monday nights and Wednesday night. I go in there, I do the touch sparring with all levels. The pros come in, the amateurs come in, the beginners come in. We spar friendly. You can do so many rounds without getting hurt. You don't get messed up. Your cardio's off the chain. It's amazing. We have a blast. An hour passes by like this. Try to do an hour on a treadmill. It's so boring. It's just too boring. It's not sustainable. You'll do that workout for 3 months, 1 year. Then you're going to get bored. You can be like, dude, I can't stand doing another 45 minutes on the treadmill. It's just too boring. On the bag, you can do 3 rounds of 3 minutes, 3 rounds of 2 minutes. Your cardio is taxed. It's low impact. You're doing flexibility. You're doing plyometric. You're doing flexibility. You're doing cardio. You're doing anaerobic work. It's low impact. I mean, bag work is genius. Plus, it's cheap. Get a bag. Hang it in your garage. Get a freestanding bag. Bag work is brilliant for cardio. Guys, I'm nearly 40 years old. I'm slim and trim. No joint pain. Why? I do low impact cardio. Heart, healthy. Thank the Lord. Super healthy. Body, trim. Very trim body. Cardio, energy. My energy is through the chain. I have great energy, fantastic energy. Of course, it has a lot to do with diet as well. But cardiovascular training is a must. I don't care if you're just a grappler. You say, coach, I compete in grappling. I don't want to ever fight standing. You still need to do cardio for your health. Now, you could do running. You could do rowing. Or you could do bag drills. If you do bag drills, you're also learning a skill that you can use in self-defense. Guys, you can spike your heart rate with bag drills, like kicking drills on the back. You could spike it almost just as much. Very similar to a sprint. Very similar. Now look, if you're a world-class jiu-jitsu guy, look, stick with the sprints. Stick with the rower. Okay, it's a slight edge over striking. But if you're grappling for fun and you're not interested in MMA, do your cardio with bag intervals. Google bag intervals. Go on YouTube. There's 1,001 type of bag intervals you can do. Get a good bag, do those bag intervals, pump that cardio once, twice a week, 3 times a week for just a few minutes. Do it right after grappling practice. Like my gym has bags. We have a bag garden. We do jiu-jitsu on the blue mat, red mat. Then we put our gloves on. I even do it without gloves. Go on the bag garden. Do a couple of rounds of bag. Cardio is done. So I think it's just a beautiful way to stay healthy, stay lean. It's the best cardio machine. The best cardio machine, the punching bag. Or the banana bag is even better. You could do a lot better. The banana bag is the one that touches the floor. It goes all the way down. Those giant Fairtex bags, amazing bags. CM Punk has great cardio. I know you're probably kidding, being sarcastic, but man, he had pretty good cardio. But again, Mike Jackson was really laid back, so the pressure wasn't so high. But I'm impressed that he did 3 hard rounds. I want to grow a bag garden. Dude, you should. I don't know if you're being sarcastic here, but the bag garden is a must. If your gym doesn't have a bag garden, you're missing out. Bag gardens are amazing. Sometimes I'm working out on the bag. I'm using 2-3 bags at once. Why? Because they're available. I'm side kicking one, side kicking another, spinning. I love it. I love the bag garden. That's how I train myself. I don't hit mitts. I personally never hit mitts. I haven't hit mitts in years. I don't feel that my striking has suffered at all for it. I shadow very little, work the bag and it's sparring. Just bag and sparring. A lot of world champions. It's funny. This is a funny, interesting side note I think you guys are going to appreciate. I spent a lot of time with Freddie Roach. I'm very lucky to have spent a lot of time with one of the greatest boxing coaches of all time. And he told me, look, the mitts started to be developed in the 70s. Mid-70s, late 70s, it got popular. 80s, it got popular. Muhammad Ali didn't have mitts. Sugar Ray Leonard didn't hit mitts. These guys didn't hit mitts. Freddie Roach says, the fighters were better before. He says he never hit mitts. The only thing he ever hit with Eddie Fudge was a shield. They had like a punch shield, and they would just do like one punch, do very little shield. He did very little shield work, and no mitts. Freddie Roach. He says the golden age of boxing, they did almost no mitts. He says the fighters were better. He says, what did they do? He says, well, we showed you the technique. They showed us the technique. That's what Freddie was saying. He says that coaches would show you the techniques. You do it in shadow. You'd work it on the bag. Then you would spar. That's it. And they would just coach you verbally and tell you what you should try, what you should attempt. You work the mechanics on the bag. You work the mechanics in shadow. And then that's it. We put you in sparring. There was no mitt work. I also developed my striking game like this. I know many fighters have done it like this. Why? Mitt work is like, it's not bad. I use mitt work. I do. It's just not really important. People make it way more important. Some fighters are like, I need my mid trainer, I need my holder, and they spend a fortune on their holder. And I've seen guys hit mitts all day long, and then they get in sparring. They don't do well. They're hitting mitts all day, all night. They come in 3 times a day, and they're hitting mitts, and then they spar and they get their ass handed to them by a guy who never hits mitts. It's not that important. Hitting mitts is really not that important. Now, what's important about a mitt holder is the feedback he's giving you, the pointers he's giving you. Now, if you have a great coach who's holding mitts for you, that's different because he's giving you pointers, he's giving you strategies, he's making you understand. But just the mechanics of hitting, sometimes I see people hitting mitts, it's just repetitive. There's no dialogue between the coach and the fighter. There's no feedback. If there's no feedback, guys, you might as well hit the bag. Okay, now I make my fighters do a lot of bag work, etc., and I find that it's adequate because I give them the feedback. I tell them what to do, and I get on the mitts as well because I feel I can explain it better to you on the mitts. However, there's a mental side to it. If the mental side is not there, if there's not an understanding, we're not developing our understanding, you might as well just be sparring. How to increase punching power? Well, that's a great question. Not an easy one to answer. But look, punching power has a lot to do with genetics. Coaches can make you punch harder, but they can't make you punch hard. I love the track coach saying, an old cliche, but they say, sprint coaches say, we can make you faster, but we can't make you fast. Usain Bolt was already fast. His trainers just made him faster. He was born that way, okay? Power is one of those things you're born with. As far as we know, maybe tomorrow we'll be able to take an everyday Joe and make him hit like a Mike Tyson. Maybe. But we're not there yet. We don't have the knowledge yet. We could just make hard hitters hit even harder. Okay? So, one time I was talking to Kevin Jackson. I was training with him. I was giving him like a little rundown on training. I told him, look, you're already a talented guy. My job is to make, I told him, we're talking about technique. And he's a very cerebral guy. And I like the fact that he's such an intelligent guy. I told him, look, a good coach can make your double leg more efficient. So, for instance, let's say you double leg, a particular fighter, and the difficulty was a 6 on 10. So 10 being you barely took him down, you fought to the bitter, you clawed your way to a takedown, but you took everything you had. And a 1 was you took him down with ease, and the guy's defenses were useless. If it was a 6, so it was tough, manageable, challenging, but manageable. Very manageable. My job as a coach is to make it a 5 or a 4. I want you to get that takedown. I'm going to give you a little tricks to make it more efficient. You're still going to get the guy to the ground. You're going to spend less energy, and you're going to hold him in a way that costs less and gives the guy less options to get back up or submit or sweep. That's what a coach does at a high level. At a low level, he's teaching you everything from A to Z. At a high level, we already know how much punching power you have. We're just going to tweak it to make it a little bit more efficient, to make it more powerful and expose you less to being countered. That's what a coach does. But these are things that are done in little increments over time. Now, sometimes we have a drastic change in ability. Why? Because the fighter was missing a fundamental element to his game. I'm talking about training fighters at an elite level here. Sometimes they have technique gaps, and when you repair those technique gaps, you have a huge jump in technical skill. Why? Because sometimes they just didn't learn. It might be basic, but sometimes they just didn't have the coach to show them that one basic technique in a particular realm of fighting. Now, I've seen it before. Some fighters, for instance, they don't even know how to underhook correctly, or they don't know how to whizzer correctly. Yet they've been getting away with it in their pro career for 5-10 years. And then one day somebody shows them the keys to underhook, a proper underhook, and boom, their clinch game explodes. Or they didn't know how to slip properly. They were slipping incorrectly their whole career. Then one day a coach shows them the basics of slipping, and boom, all of a sudden, the guy's thriving. His hands jump 15, 20%, 25% in skill. I feel like when gyms make me hold mitts, it's messing up my defensive reaction. Well, I've never had that experience. I hold mitts all the time. I don't feel like it messes up my defensive reaction. However, I don't like holding mitts because it makes me very sore. I think if you're a fighter, you shouldn't hold mitts. It'll make your shoulders very sore. Now, I hold my mitts in a very particular way to make sure that I'm not sore. But that took a lot of years to figure out for me, how to hold and kind of go with the move, go with the strike, kind of spring back with the strike a little. Iaquinta versus Gaethje. Now that's an exciting fight. That's an interesting one. I think Iaquinta's got a lot of punching power, and Gaethje's got that power too, but he's got that forward pressure. I'm really interested to see how Iaquinta handles that. Coach, why did Conor McGregor gas out versus Floyd after are boxers fitter than MMA fighters? No, not at all. Believe me, if Mayweather came into MMA, okay, it wouldn't last around, I don't think, against McGregor. But let's say it did. Let's say McGregor says, I'm going to toy with you. Mayweather would gas out totally. McGregor will have better cardio in boxing than Mayweather will have in MMA. I'll tell you why. Did you guys notice how... I know a lot of you are going to object, but the only reason you're going to object is because you've never done MMA. All due respect. Did you guys notice how easily McGregor toyed with Mayweather in the clinch? To the point, where if you listen to the commentary, the commentators thought Mayweather was giving his back to McGregor. And one of the commentators, the guy who sparred with McGregor, I forget his name right now. If you guys can type it in the commentary, it would be great. Was saying, no, guys, it's McGregor taking his back. He was absolutely right. Absolutely. McGregor did something we call a slide by in wrestling. And the referee was also reprimanding Mayweather, saying, don't turn your back. And Mayweather's like, he's hitting me behind the head. And the referee was like, don't turn your back. And he's like, I didn't. Paulie Malignaggi, that's correct. Thank you. Very appreciated. Paulie was saying, no, guys, it's McGregor taking the back. It's McGregor doing the slick move. When I did my pre-fight interview, my pre-fight analysis of McGregor versus Mayweather, I said, guys, when they clinch, McGregor is going to toy with him and possibly even exhaust him. And some of the boxing fans were like, no, Mayweather's a master in the clinch. I'm like, guys, the best clincher in boxing is the worst clincher in MMA by far. You guys don't know clinching. All due respect. We know judo, we know Greco, we know freestyle, we know jiu-jitsu. You're clinching in boxing, which I've learned, which I've done, which I practice on a regular basis. All due respect is light years behind. With all due respect to you boxers. And boxing is a brilliant sport. This is not a jab. This is not an attack on boxing. I love boxing. Okay, I love boxing. I'm a boxer as well. But guys, come on. You can't even compare boxing clinching with wrestling and jiu-jitsu clinching. Mayweather would tie up with Mayweather would get tied up with McGregor in MMA. They would end up in a tie-up, and McGregor would do what he wants, whatever he wants. Whether it be put him up against the fence and beat on him, would it be throw him to the ground, would it be just maul him and fatigue him? He would maul him and fatigue him, and there would be nothing Mayweather can do about it, and he would gas out. Now I'm telling you that McGregor has better cardio in boxing than Mayweather would have in MMA. Why? Because McGregor has a far greater understanding of boxing than Mayweather does have of clinching or jiu-jitsu. McGregor's competence in boxing far exceeds that of Mayweather's grappling and wrestling ability. Far exceeds. So when Mayweather would come into our world, he would be a drowning man. Okay, he would just get mauled. He would gas out, and he wouldn't know how to relax. He wouldn't be able to relax. He would be fighting for his life, so to speak. Conor still said that Floyd was good in the clinch. Yeah, I'm sure he was, but that was a boxing clinch. How many things does McGregor know about the clinch that he's not allowed to use? Okay. So in a boxing clinch, for sure, Mayweather's one of the top clinchers, I would say, in boxing today. But when we go to MMA, he's going down. All right, guys, we got a super chat. I believe I missed one earlier. My apologies. Coach, can you please elaborate on the kind of anxiety that drains energy as you mentioned in your previous video? Wow, that's a great question. How do I find that last super chat? I feel bad if I missed one. My apologies. Okay, let me do this one. This one is from Stubby. I have another one here from Finam Zam. Let me do Finam's first, and I'll jump on yours. Roots in boxing. How do I find a balance with BJJ? Well, listen. Do your boxing for cardio. If you're doing BJJ, at least do your boxing for cardio. Do it once, twice a week. Do punching intervals. 10 seconds of punching, 10-second break. Do that for 2 minutes. 1 minute break. Do that for rounds. Look up punching intervals. Do lots of punching intervals. And you got to box, man. At Tristar, we're blessed because we have jiu-jitsu, and then right after that, we do striking. So we do an hour of jiu-jitsu, an hour and a half of jiu-jitsu on Monday nights. Then after that, we're always touch sparring. It's great. It's such a great. We do both. So you got to find the gym that caters to both. Stubby, I got to keep it really short, my man. I'm going to repeat your question. Coach, can you please elaborate on the kind of anxiety that drains energy, as you mentioned in your previous videos? Guys, I got to do a whole video on anxiety and fear, because it's the number one question I get on mind. I'm going to do a whole elaborate video, and I'll put it up on Juji Club, and it'll be great. It'll be great. You guys will use it regularly. Listen, you got to understand why you have anxiety. The reason why you have anxiety is because your body is sensing a danger. Now, this is your subconscious mind sensing a danger. Your subconscious mind is sensing a danger. It wants to fight, run, fight, flight, or freeze. Right? A snake passes your path, you freeze in your tracks. Why do you freeze in your tracks? Well, you're hoping you don't create any ground vibrations. It doesn't notice you and moseys on its way. You see a hyena in the field. Well, you and your team, you gotta fight that hyena. You gotta kill it. It's hungry. It's desperate. It's coming for a kill. Well, we're gonna gang up on you. We're gonna kill you first, or maybe you have to run from a predator. Regardless, your mind senses a danger. Now, my question to you is this: anxiety is good when the danger is real. However, when the danger is not real, it's only a movie in your mind. It's anxiety for nothing. Okay, you have anxiety for nothing. So what should you do? One, you have to use your logical mind to decipher whether this danger is real or not. So for instance, let's say you have a phobia. I get this quite a lot. I get a lot of emails from you. People say, I have a phobia of doing jiu-jitsu. I have a phobia of like close contact, somebody grabbing me, somebody choking me. Well, I ask you this, okay, your logical mind. Is it dangerous? Do people get hurt doing jiu-jitsu? What are the statistics? Let's look them up. Jiu-jitsu, by and large, is very safe. It's arguably one of the safest sports in martial arts. As a matter of fact, I would say because you know how to defend yourself, you're safer in everyday life. You are literally safer in everyday life. You're less likely to be harmed in a street altercation. So logically, it's safe. Okay, if it's logically safe, the only reason why you have anxiety now is because of a false belief, a false movie you are watching in your head. Maybe your imagination is torturing you. You got to get a hold of your imagination. You're going into a false movie, as I like to say. Okay, this is a technique I learned years ago. You're making a movie in your mind. So what's that movie in your mind? Well, you're picturing yourself being choked to death on the mat. Some people, I believe me or not, write me letters saying, Coach, I'm so scared to get on the mat and wrestle. I'm scared somebody's going to choke me. Now, whatever your phobia is, if it's unreasonable, if you look at the statistics and the dangers are so minimal that you're willing to do it logically, right? I get on a plane. I have a fear of flight. I get on the plane. Why? Because statistically, it's safer than driving. Statistically, it makes sense. The only thing left now that's stopping me is my imagination. I'm picturing a plane crash. You're picturing being choked out on the mat and dying. Something that's only happening in your mind. So you're feeling that anxiety because your subconscious doesn't know the difference between your imagination and the real world. What you got to do is you got to stop that movie. Every time you see that movie, every time that movie plays of a disaster, I want you to stop and look around. Are people getting choked out to death on the mat? Look at the news. Google it. BJJ choked to death. You're going to find one instance every 5-10 years. It's one of the safest sports. You can find death in anything, guys. You can find death in basketball, football, soccer, baseball. We're talking about worldwide. People die. People die every day doing everything. People die from running. People die from driving. People die from everyday things that you already do. Is it an acceptable risk? If it's an acceptable risk, we got to do it. Or else the alternative is to live in a bubble and miss out on life. We're not going to live in a bubble. We're not going to miss out on life. Sometimes we're going to get a scar or two. So every time you start daydreaming that you're getting choked to death, you're torturing yourself. You're being choked to death. I've been in a million one plane crashes in my mind. Why? Because I've watched that plane crash a million times. What you got to do is you got to tell yourself, stop. If the plane crashes, I'm only going to crash in one plane crash. One. That's it. If I get choked out to death on the mat, I'm going to get choked out to death once on the mat. If I'm scared of spiders and I'm scared that they're going to bite me and poison me and I'm going to die, well, you know what? That's only ever going to happen once in my life. If, for instance, I go out in the mat and I have a horrible experience, let's say somebody armbars me, tweaks my arm, and I'm in a lot of pain. That's just going to happen once. I'm never going to even think about it again. If you guys want to know how I go about it, I will never think about a bad experience. I do not think about bad experiences over and over again. I never do. If I have a bad experience in life, which I've had many, like all of you, I never relive them. Now, I draw this from the work of Lainey Basham. Lainey Basham's With Winning in Mind. I really recommend it. It's a great book. Lainey Basham's material. I've talked about it in the past before. He's a world champion in skeet shooting. He wrote a great book. I love his material. And you know what? He says, look, let's say you have a bad experience on the mat. You got armbarred. You got choked. You go home and you're just reliving it. You're reliving it. You're reliving it. You've been choked and armbarred thousands of times now in your mind. Why? Because your subconscious is going to give you the same chemical response as if you lived it live, or very similar to. What you need to do is replace it with a more positive movie, something more productive. Visualize yourself escaping that choke, escaping that armbar. Take that energy you have, that anxiety, and now figure out how to escape that armbar, how to escape that. Go and ask the question. Take a private on just how to escape armbars, how to avoid the armbar, what led to the armbar. And just visualize yourself every time now escaping. And all of a sudden you're escaping. If I go on the mat and I get guillotined, believe me, I'm just thinking about all the ways I could have got out of that guillotine. And I'm visualizing myself blocking the guillotine, escaping the guillotine. I'm never going to visualize myself getting guillotined. Never. I never watch that again. It happened. It's not happening again. And if it does happen again, I'm just reliving this solution. When I think about flying, I'm in the plane and I feel turbulence and I start thinking about the plane crashing. I just look around and I say, look, the plane ain't crashing. People are drinking orange juice. People are reading a newspaper. People over there having a conversation. The plane is only crashing in my mind. Now I got to get out of this movie. What's a better movie to watch? I'm talking about the movie you're watching inside your mind. Well, you know what? Better movie to watch is for me to watch this sitcom I was watching on my computer, or to watch this fight that I was watching, or to continue reading this book. That's a way better movie. The movie inside your mind should always be a positive one. Believe you me, this takes practice. You get good at replacing a bad thought with a good thought. It takes some practice, but the more you do it, the better you get at it. Like Confucius said, let no evil thought enter your mind. This is such a beautiful quote. It takes practice, but eventually, the movie in your mind is always a positive and more positive one. And anxiety is only needed when real dangers are there. So for instance, if somebody pulls out a gun at me, let's say me and you, we're standing side by side and somebody pulls out a gun. And you tell me, coach, I feel anxious. How do you help me with anxiety? I'll be like, dude, you need to be anxious right now. You need to fight, flight, or freeze. You need those chemicals in your system right now. Don't tell me you want to get over this anxiety. Let's be anxious right now. Now's the time to be anxious. This is a correct time to be anxious. Yes, you should be anxious. So I'm not against anxiety when it's appropriate. However, we don't want to be too anxious and we don't want to be under anxious. It depends on the situation. And of course, phobias are irrational fears. When our logical mind says, look, we shouldn't be scared of this, now we got to replace that movie. I hope that makes sense. I hope to do a video on this and make it really elaborate and go deeper, because it goes deeper than this. This is just a really superficial rundown. And while I was saying that, I got a bunch of super chats while we ran out of time. But like usual, I'm going to go over time for you guys because I want to give you guys what you guys want. We're at 335 people in this chat room already. So because you guys are putting in such love, I'll continue. Yesterday was my first day at Hensel Gracie Academy in New York, and I'm saving up for Tristar. All right, so I can come and train soon under your genius. You are the great coach you're the greatest coach in history. Wow, Marco, thank you. I appreciate that, dude. Really, really appreciate that. I look forward to coming down, Marco. Make sure you tell me your a subscriber on this channel, I'll make sure to keep an eye on you on the mats. Marco, I really appreciate that. Don't forget, we have the tsdorms@gmail.com. If you want to stay at the dorms, email tsdorms@gmail.com and get your rate today. If you want to stay 3 days, 1 day, 5 days, 1 year, guys, book your dorms. You get a really great rate. You get the training included. Hook it up. Come to the dorms. Train with me. Marco, I'm looking forward to your visit. Stuart, you asked, for us in previous videos, you talked about fixing your lower back pain, sciatica. What did you do exactly? Guys, that's another video for another day, because that would be a long explanation. Stuart, I know you put down 5 pounds for this, so I'm going to give you guys a brief rundown, because there's a lot to know about this, and I should do videos on this. But Stuart, I want you to pick up, I'm putting it in the chat room right now. I want you to pick up Becoming a Supple Leopard. Now, I beat this to death many times, so I'm going to keep this really short. Becoming a Supple Leopard by Kelly Starrett. All your answers are in there, my friend. Dude, you must get this book. Another great book, Secrets to Using Your Body. It's an ebook. You must get Secrets to Using Your Body. It's all about posture, alignment. Phenomenal book. Get that book. Another thing, go to timtam.tech. I know it's a sponsor, guys, but I'm telling you, that's why I love this company. This company is brilliant. Get the TT Power. It's a $400 investment. It's foam rolling on steroids. Don't get, there's other machines where it's like a vibration. Forget that vibration. We need percussion. We need travel. Get the steel cone tips, the sharp one, the one that's it's a cone. It's a steel cone. You put it on. That's how you get a deep tissue massage in minutes. So if you were foam rolling for 1 hour, you can get that same muscular release in 5-10 minutes with the TT, with the Tim Tam Power. Get the Tim Tam Power. It's all about alignment and keep your muscles loose. You'll be healthy for life. Guys, you see how much rolling I do. I eat well. I stay aligned. I train. And the muscles stay loose. Guys, these are the key principles. I had horrible sciatica in my 20s. Horrible. I was ready to hang it up. I was in so much pain. Supple Leopard, Tim Tam, saved the day for me. Supple Leopard, Tim Tam, saved the day. And foam rolling is great, guys. If you're on a budget, use the lacrosse ball foam rolling. But it's not fast enough. It's not efficient enough. It's not quick enough. I don't use the Tim Tam every day. I only use it when I have a tight muscle. And I don't need it for long, 5, 10, 20 minutes. Once in a while, I do a 45 minutes on my legs, because most athletes carry their tension in their legs. According to Michael Kogan, in his book, New Power Program, the legs is the most important. Why? Because when you have tension in your legs and you're off alignment in your legs, that messes up the whole chain that goes upstairs. So if your knee is out of whack, then your hip is out of whack. Why? Because your hip can only be straight, aligned, if your knee is aligned. Your knee depends on your ankle. Your ankle doesn't depend on any joint, because there's no joint below. So if your back is not straight, your neck could not be straight. There's no way your neck is straight if your back is not straight. Your shoulders depend on your lower back. Your lower back depends on your hips. Your hips depend on your shoulders. And the chain goes downwards like this. Okay, so it's really, really important to keep your legs aligned, because it's the base of your body, and loose. And most tension is in the legs. Okay, so I hope that puts it in a nutshell for you. What do you think about VR boxing? No, I haven't tried VR boxing. Haven't tried it. Did I supple leopard? Sorry, did I put a typo? I'm sorry. It's supple leopard. I'm sorry. Let me type that again. I didn't see what I typed. I didn't look. Maybe the autocorrect. Supple leopard. Guys, I recommend this book to everybody. Leopard. It's the greatest book on training in my view, by Kelly Starrett. Why? Because it teaches you the most important aspect of training. Alignment. Alignment is the number one most important thing when it comes to exercise. Exercise selection is secondary. Reps and schemas is secondary. The most important thing is alignment. Why? Because it keeps your body healthy. Becoming a supple leopard by Kelly Starrett. It's actually Becoming a Supple Leopard by Kelly Starrett. Sorry, guys. How do you prevent cauliflower ears? You don't seem to roll with headgear. Very good question. All right, guys. Very good question. How do we avoid cauliflower ears? Well, look, this will be the last one, guys. I despise I don't want cauliflower ears. For those of you guys who walk around with cauliflower ears like this and you let it happen to you, I think you've done yourself a disservice. Okay, so personally, I know some guys love having cauliflower ears. For them, it's like, oh, the more cauliflower I have, the better. Well, I was always of the opposite thought. I never wanted to have cauliflower ears. So here's the secret to avoiding cauliflower ears. At least that's what's happened with me. If you touch my ears are soft, super soft. The cartilage in my ears is completely mulch on both sides. I'm totally mulch. My ears are confetti. However, when you break the cartilage in your ear, okay, there's a bleeding, there's a swelling, there's a liquid, and then that liquid is between your skin. At least this is how I understand it. Okay, guys, I'm not a biologist, but this is what I've read up. Okay, the liquid between the cartilage and the ear blocks the nutrients that get to the cartilage. Why? Because your cartilage gets the nutrients from the skin. So blood flow is blocked to the cartilage. So your cartilage eventually dies. And what happens that liquid hardens for whatever reason that I don't know. And you get this giant mass. So what I did was every time I had a liquid, I would drain it. I would get it drained, compress it. You get gauze, you compress it. I used to use like those bag chip holders. I would compress it, okay, for hours and hours. Let it coagulate. I would put a headband. I would compress it. And then I would put a headgear on until my injury is healed. So yes, you never see me wear headgear because for years I would only wear headgear when I had a cauliflower ears. It was always drained, compressed, then protected till the injury goes away. When the injury goes away, I took off the headgear. I don't wear headgear no more until the next injury, ear injury. Now I'm the same way with my knees and elbows. If my knee is hurting, I'll wear a knee pad until my knee pain is gone. I'll baby the knee. When the knee pain is gone, I don't wear the knee pad. Why? Because knee pads will eventually weaken your stabilizers. So I'll do my supple leopard workout for the knee. I'll loosen up the muscles. I'll use the Tim Tam till my knee is loose. Incidentally, I have a tight muscle right now that's bothering my knee. And I'm really kind of angry with myself. I didn't get to it yesterday. Today, I'll be loosening up my knee with the Tim Tam after practice. Make sure that muscle is loose. I'm not going to let it get to... I'm not going to let this little tight muscle become a problem. Why? Because that tight muscle is a pain in my knee now. It's just pulling on my knee. I could feel it. I know my body. That pain in my knee is going to become a pain in my hip, a pain in my lower back. I'm not letting it get that far. Now, I've been traveling a lot. I've been sitting down, so my legs got tight. And that tightness now is in my knee. I feel it in my knee. Tonight, I'm going to warm up. I'm going to spar a little. I'm going to coach. I'm going to do some coaching. And after that, I take the Tim Tam. Real percussion. Now, the Tim Tam has a certain level of travel. Vibration and travel is not the same. You need percussion. You need that muscle to get punched. You need it to get cracked. You need it to get hit. You need it to be kneaded. So, for me, the Tim Tam is the only one on the market that's powerful enough. And that's what I do, guys. Whenever I have a tight muscle, I get rid of it. And then it's all about alignment. For your question on ear, real simple. Drain it, compress it, protect it until it's healed. Then take off the headgear. Okay, guys, does that make sense? I hope I banked in another great episode. I hope you guys enjoyed it. I love you, Sheikh Firas, my friend. It's reciprocal. I love you right back. Thank you very much. I'm on Joe Rogan on June 19th. TimTam.tech, special thank you. tsdorms if you want to come train. JujiClub.com. Guys, join that email list because I'm going to be sending out some free information for the people part of the Juji Club email list. If you haven't got my first instructional, check it out. Get it. I'm going to be sending out some videos on little things, little troubleshooting things that maybe I didn't cover in the instructional. And I'm going to pull some questions, comments that I've gotten. I've got really, really great reviews, guys. Fantastic reviews for my instruction on the lockdown, the reverse Del Hiva lockdown. Thank you very much. I'm happy that you guys liked it. I'm going to be making more instructionals. Lots of cool videos you're going to find on jujiclub.com. Make sure you sign up to the email list because I'm going to be blasting it on the email list. Plus, I'm going to be giving free content on jujiclub.com's email list. Only jujiclub.com's email list on follow-up instructionals for free. Things, the nuances about reverse Del Hiva that just couldn't fit in the video because the video was too long. or I would need to make 100 more videos because Reverse Del Hiva never ends. But I'm going to give it to you guys who bought those videos are going to be getting follow-up videos. Here's a little thing you might need. Here's a little extra detail. Here's an extra variation. That if I put them in the original video, that video will be 10 hours long, 50 hours long, okay? And I'm going to just keep it up. So you're going to get that value. You're going to get that value. And when I come up with new stuff about Reverse Del Hiva, I'm going to shoot you an email, let you know, hey guys, I've been doing this now. I've been solving these reactions, these counters that my opponents have come up with. This is how I solve them. If you bought the Reverse Del Hiva, you're going to get free videos on Reverse Del Hiva. But you got to sign up, so I have permission to email you those free videos, okay? And when I come up with a new instructional, you get a video once in a blue moon saying, hey, there's a new instructional for sale. If you want it, come get it. Of course, I'll always be blasting it on this channel, but I won't be giving out the free content on this channel. For the follow-ups on the instructional, okay? There will always be free content on this channel. I'm going to be doing more videos on jiu-jitsu, wrestling, striking on this channel, of course. But if you're a hardcore jiu-jitsu guy and you want those like specialized videos, those more complex situations, the more advanced positions, make sure you're on jujiclub.com's email list. And we're going to have a lot of fun this year doing what we love. We love jiu-jitsu. I love jiu-jitsu. You guys love jiu-jitsu. We're hanging out, talking about jiu-jitsu. It's fun. I really enjoy these episodes. Thank you all for tuning in. Like, share, and comment as always. Hit that what do you call a button where it rings you? Because when I go live, you're going to get a message that I'm live. What do you call that button? Forget the name of that button. Alert button. Hit that alert button. Hit the subscribe, guys. Help me grow my channel and more content coming your way. Thank you all and see you all in the next episode.